All right, so we're ready for our next math lesson. You're going to continue this work that we've been doing with subtraction, the art of taking apart or taking numbers away, as opposed to addition, which is adding them together. We're going to keep either taking away or taking apart, depending on what the story asks us to do. We're going to need a page out of our book to work on at the end, so go ahead and get out your student journal. You're going to need page 119. It says 119 down here. It's got a little red hammer. This is called subtraction, relating concepts. It's got a bunch of different pictures because we're going to just talk about different kind of subtraction problems that there are. I'm going to set something up and pause this real quick, and then we'll talk about it. I got to draw something on the board, so I'm going to stop this, and then we'll start back up once I have it drawn. And poof, like magic, there's our picture. All right, so the story that we're going to tell with this particular one, we've got our subtraction problem. So I'm going to point at these little boxes here. We've got our space for the biggest number. We've got our subtraction mark or a minus sign. We have another space for what is getting taken away equals blank. And this is going to be our answer, okay? So here is the story for the picture that I've drawn. 7 ducks were playing one day. So we have 7 ducks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So that's all of our ducks. So when I say 7 ducks are playing, we kind of have to keep listening to see what else is said in the question, okay? 4 ducks decide to take off for the day. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ducks, and they're looking like they're taking big steps here because they are out of here. They are leaving, okay? How many ducks are left after those 4 ducks take off? So the story is 7 ducks were playing, 4 ducks left. How many ducks are left over, okay? So to work that out on our paper, we look at our big picture. So we want to start with our biggest number, and that is how many ducks there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ducks. We start off with 7 ducks, so we write the number 7 in there. I'll try and turn this so you can kind of see it. 7 ducks are playing one day. 4 of them decide to take off. They're out of here. They're done playing for the day. That is how many we're going to take away. 7 minus 4 equals blank. This blank is how many ducks are left over after all of these guys take off, okay? So those are the ones that we haven't been looking at yet. 7 minus 4 is going to be these guys right here. So we count them. They're the ones still hanging out, and that's going to be our answer for this question. 1, 2, 3 ducks. You would say 3 ducks decided to keep playing. 7 minus 4 equals 3. That's this particular problem. I'll give you another problem to think about, and we'll do one more example, and then you guys will be turned loose on your work because you're getting the subtraction thing down. I'll go ahead and stop it so I can draw my next picture. Poof. Okay, so I drew another picture here. For this one, I didn't put any numbers in it, and I want you to just go ahead and kind of take a look at this and see which math problem Mr. McCardle is trying to show you, okay? So I've drawn a picture already. I'm not giving you any of the numbers, and I'm not telling the story, so I want you to practice kind of telling yourself the story based on how many or what's going on in this picture. So I'm going to kind of do that and talk to you guys about what I'm thinking while I'm looking at it, okay? I know that I have some muffins. I've drawn some muffins up here. I know that some of these muffins have big X's on them. That means those are probably going to be what's getting taken away, okay? So when I look at this picture right now, I know that there's some muffins. I know that some of them are going to be crossed off because they're getting taken away, because I know that that cross off usually means take away or get rid of or take apart. So I always want to start by figuring out what my biggest number is, and that's going to include all these ones that have crossed out X's on them and the ones that don't, because that's going to be where I'm going to start off for my subtraction problem. I want my biggest number or largest number right here, okay? So I'm going to start by counting all of my muffins first, and that's going to tell me where I start. So I'm going to count the ones that are crossed off and the ones that are not crossed off. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that there are 5 muffins at the beginning of this problem. Okay. Now I'm looking at this picture, I know that there's 5 total, but I know that there's a couple of them that have X's on them. I know from doing math problems before that when we put X's on them, that means those are the ones that I'm taking away. So I'm going to count these taken away muffins next, and that's going to be the ones that I'm taking away with my minus sign. So this says 5 minus blank. It could also read 5 take away blank. There's a couple different ways to say minus or take away. So I'm going to count my crossed off ones, 1, 2, and I know how to draw a 2 from working on drawing my numbers, and that's going to go right there. So I know that this is what I'm going to be taking away. My problem now reads 5 minus 2 equals blank. Just from working on the other problems, I know that this blank is going to come from what is not crossed off. What is still around? What can I still eat if it's a muffin? I have 1, 2, 3 muffins left over, okay? So this story is 5 minus 2 equals 3. I can tell that just by looking at it what this story might be. Mr. McCardle brought in 5 muffins one morning. Someone came in and ate 2 of them. They're gone. I can't eat them anymore. How many muffins does Mr. McCardle still get to eat? Well, he gets to eat these guys because they weren't taken away. Mr. McCardle gets to eat 3 muffins. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be looking at some pictures and seeing what they are, or what story these things are trying to tell you. There's a bunch of different ways of showing it too. We've had these, I'll show you all of them. So right here we've got how many sheep are hanging out one day. Well, if you count all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you start with your biggest number. That's all of them. 9 goes right here. 4 of these sheep decide to run away. That's why they have a 4 in this spot. What you want to count for this one is going to be all the sheep that still hang out. Those are the ones that are going to be hanging out in the pen. So in this particular one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sheep go right there. That's a 5. For this one, you get to see some fish that are crossed off. It's kind of like this muffin one that we did. Start off with your number that is all the fish, crossed off and not crossed off, and that's going to be your biggest number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fish. We're hanging out one day. The crossed off ones are going to be the ones we're taking away. 3 of those fish decide to go home. 1, 2, 3 fish go home. And then for this, we get to look at how many are not crossed off for our answer. 1, 2 fish are our answer. 2 of them are still hanging out. I want you to look at these pictures. See if you can try to guess what these are trying to ask you. The first box is going to be where your big number is, or the total amount of things. Second box is going to be how many are disappearing or crossed off. So this one, these bees right here look like they're flying away. So those are going to be the ones we take away. What's going to be left over is going to be all the bees that are hanging out. So fill this one out, subtract those problems, take some pictures, send them to your teacher so we know how you're doing on the subtraction, and we'll see you next lesson.